He slipped it to me like a secret, folded twice, pressed into my palm when his mother wasn't looking. I almost threw it away. It was a drawing, crayon on printer paper, a house, a stick figure, a sun in the corner, the kind of thing grandmothers tape to refrigerators and forget about. But I didn't forget, because 3 weeks later, when the social worker laid all 7 drawings on her desk and went silent, I understood what my grandson had been trying to tell me. My name is Eleanor. I'm 72. I raised 3 children, buried a husband, and thought I'd seen enough of life to recognize when something was wrong. My grandson, let's call him Miles, is 6 years old. His parents divorced when he was 3. My daughter remarried a year later. A man named Derek. Polite, worked in logistics, smiled when he needed to. I saw Miles every other weekend, court-mandated visitation. My daughter dropped him off Friday evenings, picked him up Sunday afternoons. For the first year, everything seemed normal. Miles was quiet, but he'd always been quiet. He liked dinosaurs. He liked mac and cheese. He liked sitting on my couch watching nature documentaries while I folded laundry. Then, about 8 months ago, I started noticing changes. Small things. He stopped asking for seconds at dinner. He flinched when I raised my voice to call him from the other room. He started drawing, constantly. The first drawing came on a Friday in March. He'd been at my house for 20 minutes. His mother had barely said goodbye, just a wave from the car, engine still running. Miles went straight to the kitchen table, pulled out his backpack, and took out a box of crayons. "Can I draw, Grandma?" "Of course, sweetheart." He drew for 15 minutes, didn't look up once. When he finished, he folded the paper in half, then in half again, and walked over to where I was washing dishes. "This is for you," he said. He pressed it into my hand. His fingers were cold. "Don't show Mom," he whispered. Then he went back to the table and started drawing something else. I dried my hands, unfolded the paper. It was a house, brown crayon for the walls, triangle roof, 4 windows. In the bottom right corner, a stick figure, small, no smile. Above the house, a sun, but the sun was black. I stared at it for a long time. "Miles," I said carefully, "tell me about your picture." He didn't look up. "It's just a house, Grandma." "Why's the sun black?" He shrugged. "I ran out of yellow." But I'd seen the yellow crayon. It was right there in the box, barely used. I folded the drawing and put it in my purse. That night, after Miles went to bed, I sat at the kitchen table and looked at it again. A house, a stick figure, a black sun. I told myself I was overreacting. Children draw strange things. It doesn't always mean something. But I kept the drawing. The second drawing came 2 weeks later. Same routine. Miles at the kitchen table, crayons spread out. 15 minutes of silence. This time, he didn't fold it. He just slid it across the table toward me. "Another one for you, Grandma." Same house, same stick figure, but this time there were 2 figures, one small, one tall. The tall one was standing in the doorway. The small one was outside, far from the house. No sun at all. "Miles, who's this?" I pointed to the tall figure. "That's Derek." "And this?" I pointed to the small one. "That's me." "Why are you outside?" "I like being outside." He gathered up his crayons and put them back in the box, snapped it shut. "I'm hungry, Grandma." We didn't talk about it again that weekend, but I kept that drawing too. By May, I'd collected 5 drawings, each one similar, small variations. Sometimes the stick figure was inside the house, sometimes outside. Sometimes there was a second adult figure, labeled Mom when I asked. Sometimes there were objects, a table, a chair, a closed door. And in every single one, something was wrong with the light. Black suns, no suns, suns hidden behind the house. I started paying closer attention to Miles himself. He'd lost weight, not dramatically, but enough that his jeans sat loose on his hips. He startled easily. A door closing, a dog barking outside, my phone ringing. He asked more than once if he could stay an extra night. "Mom won't mind," he said. But when I texted my daughter, she said no. He has school Monday. Routine is important. I started keeping notes. Not formally, just observations. May 14th, Miles ate half his dinner, said he wasn't hungry, asked if I had any snacks he could take home. May 21, flinched when I turned on the vacuum, covered his ears. May 28th, drew for an hour straight, wouldn't show me the picture, tore it up before he left. I told myself I was documenting nothing, but I kept writing. My daughter started doing video calls. "Just to check in," she said. "Make sure Miles is settling in okay." Every Friday night, 7 o'clock. I'd hold up my phone, Miles would wave, my daughter would smile. "Having fun, buddy?" "Yeah." "Being good for Grandma?" "Yeah." "Love you." "Love you too." 30 seconds, maybe a minute, then she'd hang up. But I started noticing something. Background noise. The first time, it was a door slamming, loud enough that I heard it through the phone. My daughter glanced to the side. Her smile tightened. "Sorry, Derek just got home. Gotta go." The second time, there were voices, muffled. I couldn't make out words, but the tone was sharp. My daughter's eyes flicked off camera. She lowered her voice. "Miles, say goodnight to Grandma." "Good night, Grandma." She ended the call. I started recording the calls, just audio, on my laptop. I didn't know why. It felt invasive, but I did it anyway. By June, I had 4 recordings. I listened to them late at night, headphones on, volume high. Same pattern. Door slams, raised voices, never clear enough to understand, but present. And silences. Long, tense silences where my daughter's face went blank and Miles stared at something off-screen. On June 11th, during a call, I heard something else. A voice, male, distant but audible. "Is he still on the phone?" My daughter's eyes went wide, just for a second. "Almost done," she called back. Then to Miles, "Say goodnight, honey." "Bye, Grandma." Call ended. I played it back 3 times. Is he still on the phone? Not angry, not loud, but the way my daughter reacted, like she'd been caught doing something wrong. I saved the file, labeled it with the date. I didn't know what I was building, but I kept building it. The 7th drawing came in July. Miles had been with me for 3 hours. He'd barely spoken, barely eaten. He sat at the table with his crayons and drew the same house, same stick figure. But this time, he added something new. A window, 2nd floor, and inside the window, another stick figure, small, sitting. I sat down next to him. "Miles, can you tell me about this picture?" He didn't answer. "Who's in the window?" "Me." "Why are you in the window?" "I'm waiting." "Waiting for what?" He put down the crayon, looked at me. His eyes were too old for 6. "For the timer to beep." "What timer?" He picked up the crayon again, started coloring the window frame, black. "The one Derek sets, so I know when I can come out." My stomach dropped. "Come out of where?" "My room." He said it like it was obvious, like I should have known. I kept my voice steady. How long do you wait? He shrugged. Sometimes a little, sometimes a long time. Does Derek tell you why? He says I need to learn to be quiet. Miles folded the drawing, handed it to me. Don't tell Mom, okay? She'll get upset. I took the drawing, nodded. Okay, sweetheart. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat at my kitchen table with all 7 drawings spread out in front of me. I saw it now, the progression,
I called
the
the
isolation,
non-emergency
the
child
fear,
welfare line
the
on Monday
waiting,
morning.
and I
A woman
made a
answered,
decision.
calm, professional. How can I help you? I explained, slowly, carefully. The drawings, the behavior changes, the background noises on the calls, the timer. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she said, "Can you bring the drawings in?" "Yes." "And the recordings?" "Yes." "I'm going to connect you with a caseworker. Her name is Miss Brennan. She'll want to meet with you this week." "Okay." "Ma'am, Eleanor, you did the right thing calling." I wasn't sure I believed her, but I said thank you anyway. Miss Brennan's office was small, beige walls, a desk, 2 chairs. She was younger than I expected, maybe 40, short hair, no wedding ring. I laid the drawings on her desk, one by one. She didn't touch them, just looked. When I placed the 7th one down, the one with the window, she went very still. "He told you about a timer?" "Yes." "In his room?" "Yes." She picked up the drawing, studied it. "Mrs. Eleanor, I need to ask you some difficult questions. Can you do that?" "Yes." "Has Miles ever told you he's been hurt physically?" "No." "Has he described being denied food?" "Not directly, but he's lost weight, and he asked if he could take snacks home." She wrote something down. "The recordings, can I hear them?" I pulled out my laptop, played all 4. She listened with headphones, took notes. Her expression didn't change. When the last one finished, she removed the headphones. "I'm going to open an investigation." My chest tightened. "What does that mean?" "It means I'll be visiting the home, interviewing your daughter and her husband, observing Miles in his environment." "Will they know I called?" "Not initially, but depending on what we find, it may come out eventually." I nodded. "Miss Brennan, what do you think is happening?" She looked at the drawings again, then at me. "I think your grandson is experiencing emotional neglect, possibly isolation as a form of control. The drawings suggest he feels unsafe. The audio suggests tension in the home." She paused. "None of this is conclusive, but it's enough to look closer." "How long will it take?" 2 to 3 weeks for the initial assessment, maybe longer depending on what we find." I felt the weight of it, the waiting, the uncertainty. "Can I still see him?" "Yes. Keep your regular visits. Don't change anything. And if he says anything else, anything at all, write it down." I stood to leave. "Miss Brennan?" "Yes." "What happens if you don't find anything?" She met my eyes. "Then we close the case. But Eleanor, I've been doing this for 12 years. Children don't draw black suns for no reason." 3 weeks passed. I saw Miles twice. He drew once. Same house, same window. I didn't ask questions, just watched. My daughter called once, asked if everything was okay. "Fine," I said. "Why?" "No reason, you just seem quiet." I was quiet, because I was terrified I'd say the wrong thing. On a Thursday afternoon, Miss Brennan called. "Can you come to my office tomorrow?" "Yes." "Bring the drawings again, and the recordings." "Did you find something?" A pause. "We'll talk tomorrow."
Ms. Brennan's desk was covered with documents, reports, photographs. She gestured for me to sit. I visited the home 3 times, spoke with Miles twice, once at school, once at home with his mother present. And she opened a folder, pulled out a photograph. It was Miles's room, small, clean, a bed, a desk, a chair, and on the wall, a chart, hand-drawn, marker on poster board, days of the week across the top, times down the side, check marks in boxes. This, Ms. Brennan said, is Derek's behavior modification system. I stared at it. When Miles misbehaves, talks back, doesn't finish his food, interrupts, Derek sets a timer, 30 minutes to 2 hours, depending on the infraction. Miles has to stay in his room until it goes off. That's not illegal, I said quietly. No, it's not. But when we cross-referenced the chart with the timestamps on your audio recordings, we found something interesting. She pulled out another document. My call logs, highlighted. June 11th. You called at 7 p.m. In the background, Derek asks, "Is he still on the phone?" At that exact time, according to the chart, Miles was supposed to be in a timeout for not eating his vegetables. She tapped the page. Your daughter ended the call early because she didn't want you to know Miles was being punished. My throat tightened. Derek wasn't hiding abuse, Eleanor. He was hiding his parenting style because he knew it wouldn't look good. What about the drawings? She laid them out again, pointed to the progression. Same house, same isolation. In every drawing, Miles is either outside the house or in the window, never in the main space with the adults. She pointed to the black sun. This is how he feels, like the warmth is gone, like he's waiting for permission to exist. I couldn't speak. We also found, she continued, that Derek has been reducing Miles's meal portions, not starvation, but control. Smaller servings, no seconds, as a consequence for wastefulness. Is that abuse? It's on the line. It's emotional control. It's creating an environment where a 6-year-old feels he has to earn basic care. She closed the folder. We've mandated family therapy. Derek and your daughter have agreed. If they refuse or if things don't improve, we'll escalate. What does that mean? Supervised visitation. Potential custody reevaluation. I looked at the drawings, all 7. Did I do the right thing? Ms. Brennan leaned forward. Eleanor, your grandson asked you not to tell his mother. Not because he was lying, but because he's learned that speaking up makes things harder. You didn't betray him. You heard him. My daughter didn't speak to me for 2 months. When she finally called, her voice was tight. Mom, I need you to understand something. Derek isn't a monster. He's trying to help Miles learn discipline. By locking him in his room? It's not locking, it's timeouts. With a timer and a chart. Silence. The therapist says we need to adjust our approach, she said finally. We're working on it. Good. But I need you to stop looking for problems. Miles is fine. I'll stop looking when he stops drawing black suns. She hung up. I still see Miles every other weekend. The first visit after the investigation, he was different. Not better, not worse, just watchful. Grandma, did you tell someone about my drawings? I knelt down so we were eye level. Yes. Am I in trouble? No, sweetheart, you're not in trouble. I told someone because I wanted to make sure you were safe. He thought about that. Derek doesn't use the timer anymore. That's good. But he still gets mad. I know. Is that okay? I chose my words carefully. Everyone gets mad sometimes, but you should never feel like you have to hide in your room to be safe. Do you understand? He nodded. If you ever feel scared, you can tell me, or your teacher, or Miss Brennan, okay? Okay.
He went to the kitchen table, pulled out his crayons. "Can I draw, Grandma?" "Of course." He drew for 20 minutes. When he finished, he brought it to me. A house, a stick figure, and a sun. Yellow. I keep every drawing Miles gives me now. Not in a folder, not as evidence. I tape them to my refrigerator. Last week, he drew a picture of us, me and him, sitting on the couch. 2 stick figures, both smiling. Above us, a sun, bright yellow, with rays reaching to the edges of the paper. "This is my favorite place," he told me. "Mine too, sweetheart." I don't know if things are better at home. I don't know if Derek has really changed, or if he's just better at hiding things. But I know this. Miles doesn't whisper when he hands me his drawings anymore. He doesn't ask me to keep secrets. And when I ask him about his pictures, he tells me. Not because he's afraid, but because he knows I'll listen. Miss Brennan told me that sometimes the best thing you can do for a child isn't to rescue them. It's to make sure they know someone is paying attention. So I pay attention. I watch. I listen. I document. And every time Miles hands me a drawing, I look closely. Because the black suns were never just black suns. They were a 6-year-old boy trying to tell me he was sitting in the dark. And the worst thing I could have done was tape it to the refrigerator and forget. He draws different pictures now. I keep every single one.